Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Tills for Thrills podcast. Unfortunately, Julian, aka Tills, isn't able to be here because he's in the process of making his move. So you get my ugly mug, Nick, aka Thrills. On today's episode, I think that we're going to be talking about, is 2025 going to be a good year for gaming? You know, there seem to be a lot of decent games that are coming out this year. You know, it's going to be interesting to see who goes in the running for Game of the Year this year. And we're going to get to that here in a little bit. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always email us at the Tills for Thrills podcast at gmail.com. If you guys want a suggestion for a future episode, or you guys want to potentially come on and be a guest, you can go ahead and submit all that information down at the email below. You can follow us on all of our social medias. We got the Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, X, right? We post a lot of clips. Usually we post clips daily. If you guys are a veteran in need and you need to talk to somebody, go ahead and dial the Veterans Crisis Line, dial 988 and press 1. You guys can also become a free member on Patreon. You'll gain access to our Discord. And, you know, there's other options on there for further support as well. So getting right into it, is it going to be a good year? You know, let's introduce our guest for this episode and let's get right on into it. So our guest for this episode we have is HostileBond. So you want to go on and introduce yourself, my friend?
Hello, I'm HostileBond. I am a Twitch streamer, small YouTuber, and this definitely fits my niche. Is 2025 a good game or a good year for gamers? Well, I would like to talk about it. Like a lot.
All right, man, for sure. So what do you want to get into first? Because like we said, there's a lot of games that are coming out this year that are really, really highly anticipated. You know, I have a list of a couple of them here. But what are your thoughts, man?
So, in all honesty, there's a bunch of games I'm anticipating. Like you got, wow, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Hold on, let my brain reconnect. So you got Metal Gear Solid coming out. You got Doom Dark Ages, and like those are two that I can think of. I have them written down. Let's go to the handy dandy notebook.
Doom comes out in like 5 days, right?
Yeah. And I'm actually really excited about that one because I know the creators of Doom take their time.
Yeah, they do.
You have a bunch of game companies, Call of Duty, for example, that just kind of reskin and send it out. Next thing you know, there's a bunch of glitches, a bunch of bugs. I know with Doom, it's not going to be like that, only for the mere fact of it's a very well-known franchise ever since like Doom 64. But they take their time with it. They make sure it's done. The graphics, the dialogue, all of it, the storyline, how it plays into the Doom universe. But that one I'm definitely anticipating. Another one I'm anticipating is Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. That one's going to fall way down nostalgia lane.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, what's a game you're anticipating?
For me personally, man, I'm not a lot of people like it, but I was a big fan of Death Stranding when it came out back in 2019, 2020, I think. Mm-hmm. So Death Stranding 2 comes out actually next month. It releases June 26th, but BUTT, if you pre-order it, you get 48 hour early access, excuse me. So I pre-ordered it. I got the digital deluxe edition. So for me, it comes out on the 24th. So I'm super stoked for that and for Ghosts of Yotai and Subnautica 2. Subnautica 2 doesn't have a release date yet, but they're saying that they're going to let it into early access sometime this year. When that is, I mean, I couldn't tell you. Did you hear that with Doom the Dark Ages? So you know how Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal were kind of more movement based, like you had to stay on the move, otherwise that like your run was pretty much scuffed, like that was it. You had
Yeah,
to be
it
moving
was.
constantly.
Yeah, it was just like go 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 type stuff.
So from what I heard, Doom the Dark Ages, because they've introduced the shield mechanic into the game, it's going to be more along the lines of run straight at your enemy and kind of disengage every once in a while. Because from the clips that I've seen them running straight at the enemy, but then having to break off the engagement to be able to go fight a different group of enemies that spawned behind them. What do you think
Oh,
it's going to be like for the franchise as they've kind of done the whole movement based thing?
well, I think it's definitely a different tactic because, as you said, the original Doom and then Doom Eternal, um, it's just been go go go. It's like pop pop pop, maybe a melee, and then move on to the next person. Pop pop pop, melee, move on to the next person. Um, I feel like it's definitely going to add a different element in terms of gameplay. I feel like you're going to have to be a little more strategic during it. But I mean, hey, you never know. It may not be a bad thing for it.
Yeah, I'm extremely hopeful for Doom. I didn't pre-order it or anything. I was just gonna kind of wait for it to drop. It drops on the 15th of this month, correct?
Uh,
I think
yes.
I think it's the 15th. Yeah, the 15th. So that drops actually in a couple days. Um, I'm super stoked to see the reviews behind it because if it's getting a lot of good reviews, then I'll probably think about picking it up. What I'm really super hopeful for is that the whole shield mechanic is really well polished before they
Mm-hmm.
kind of release it and it's not super buggy.
Oh
Not
yeah.
that it looked buggy from the content that was already put out on it, but I just, with like you said, how Call of Duty, it seems to be that Call of Duty releases an update to fix one thing, but they break seven other things in the process. So a lot of these game companies and these developers are, oh yeah, we are addressing such and such problem, and we fix those, but then you load into the game and this is busted and this is busted and we didn't
Oh
have these
yeah.
problems before, and you know what I mean. So it's going to be really interesting to see for the Dark Ages to
Mm.
to see whether or not it's going to be polished or not. I think that it will be, just because like you had said, the developer team that's behind it is very well aware of the state of games when they release. So I think that especially with Doom Eternal, they kind of took their time and they polished it a little bit before they dropped it. So I'm hoping that it's going to be the same thing as Doom Eternal.
Oh
What
yeah.
what games are you excited for this year?
Well, one of them being Borderlands 4.
Yeah,
Um, Another one, now only because it's the nostalgia factor, is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4.
right.
Um, because when I was younger, obviously pop Tony Hawk in the PlayStation 2 and then just go ham for hours.
Yeah, let it rip.
Yup, let it rip like a Beyblade. But my most anticipated game is Metal Gear Solid. I know I've like repeated that name multiple times, but I can't tell you how many hours I've played Metal Gear. And I'm talking about like one, two, three. Now, I didn't get into the newer Metal Gear Solid because it's kind of like watching a movie or a TV show that you really like, right? Where it's, hey, I really like these main characters, but the further you get into the series, they end up dying off and someone else takes their place.
Right.
I hate to see it, Chief, and I don't want my favorite character to to pass away.
Yeah, look at how they massacred my boy.
Yeah, it's just like my boy. But I'm really excited for Metal Gear Solid 3 mainly because it's coming to PC, and it's one of those where it's a remaster. Now, a game that recently just came out, Oblivion. Oblivion got a remaster, and it
Yeah.
looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Like, I remember when it first came out on PlayStation 3, and I would watch my dad play it because during that time I wasn't into the Elder Scrolls series. I had didn't even know about Morrowind, and then I really started getting into the Elder Scrolls series at Skyrim.
Yeah, same.
And hate to say it, but I really enjoyed Skyrim. I bought it on like 15 different platforms.
Yeah, yeah, that's how they make all their money, dude.
Yep. Well, I mean, think about it. Like, Skyrim came out during PS3, Xbox 360,
Yep.
right? What system are we on now? We're on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series 25. I don't play Xbox, I'm sorry. But
Right. Series X, yeah.
yeah, but and it's still selling.
Yeah,
Like,
like hotcakes too.
yeah, and it's crazy because it's like, yeah, I had this back on the PS3 and I can now play it on the PS5. Well, why don't you just hook up that PlayStation 3 and just replay it? Oh, because they updated the graphics. All right. Well, I mean, I have a gaming PC and I bought it. I could have just done that. But it's just one of those where it's just like, well, you know what? I could spend 15, $20 and get it again.
Right.
And it's just mind-blowing. But back on track, Oblivion came out. They updated the graphics, they updated a bunch of stuff. And
They put it in
that's
UE5 first off, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
But that's what I'm really looking forward to in Metal Gear Solid is I want to see the remaster. I want to see what it's going to look like. I want to see the gameplay. I want to be able to immerse myself in that game.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully you get your wish, you know. I mean,
Hopefully.
hopefully it comes out and it's not a piece of dirty dog shit, you know, and you could be able to, you know, make something happen with it. So, let me ask you this question. What do you think is going to be in the running for game of the year for this year? Because I mean, we're like I said, we have a bunch of great titles: Death Stranding 2, Ghosts of Yotai, Borderlands 4, Doom. Um, GTA 6 got postponed. I don't know if you saw that. That got postponed to
Yeah,
May of next year.
I'm
So a
not
lot of
surprised.
people, yeah, I'm not either. But a lot of people have been saying since GTA 6 is kind of out of the running, they're like, well, you know, maybe Death Stranding has a shot, maybe Ghost of Yotai has a shot, maybe, you know. So I'm curious to see what you think about, you know, what's going to happen for Game of the Year. What do you think?
Well, here's my first question. Ghost of Yotai. Who is it made from?
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch? Okay. Um I
Yeah, it's
know
the
like
Ghost of Tsushima sequel.
yes. Okay, there you go. So I feel like that's definitely going to be in the top running. Doom the Dark Ages is going to be in the top running. I'm trying to think. I feel like it's going to be Ghost of Yotai, maybe Borderlands 4. I don't I know some people didn't really care for Borderlands 3.
Yeah,
Like everyone's saying Borderlands 2 was the better
the shit.
of
Yeah,
yeah. Um but it's just one of those where hey, maybe they might step up their game. They thought they were stepping their game up with 3, but it kind of just
yeah,
lowered them on
flopped.
the it lowered them on the totem pole. But I feel like it's going to be Ghost of Yotai, Doom the Dark Ages, maybe Metal Gear, but there's also more that is coming out because like for example, we got Donkey Kong Bonanza that's coming out in July. You know, you got what's another one? I'm looking at the list right now. You got Marathon coming out in September.
Oh
And
yeah,
for those of you who don't know what Marathon is, feel free to check it out. Like it feels like it's a mixture of Cyberpunk and Apex Legends.
Yeah, that's made by Bungie, right? The creators of
Yep.
Destiny.
Yep.
Yeah,
But I know they got a new what was it, Dragon Age
Dragon Age. Yeah,
coming out, and I even heard that the last one just flaked, like it was bunk.
did it?
Yeah, but I feel like as more game titles come out, it's going to be harder and harder to choose.
Yeah,
Like I thought the casting of Frank Stone was going to be good, and then I just seen a bunch of reviews. Now I haven't watched gameplay on it. I plan on doing a YouTube series for it, but it's very much like Until Dawn or The Quarry.
right, right.
So, maybe later in another podcast episode, I'll be like, yeah, no, I either really liked it or really didn't like it.
Yeah, I think honestly, man, for me personally, for like game of the year, I feel like I have to place games in one of two categories. Either action and adventure or based off of, and I when I say the two categories, what I'm referring to is what is going to put them in the running for game of the year. And I think that the
Mhm.
categories would be action or adventure, like as far as the storyline, or graphics along with the storyline, which is why I think that like Ghost of Yotai, for example, that has a huge potential to be able to be in the running because you know just from the clips that we've seen alone, from the few clips that they've been able to release and showcase to us. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima looked amazing, right? And now, just as technology progresses, I think that Ghost of Yotai is going to be so graphically intensive that it's just going to blow Ghost of Tsushima completely out of the water. And I hope that it does, honestly. I really hope that it does. I never played Ghost of Tsushima for the longest time. The longest time. And one of my buddies goes, hey man, you ever played Ghost of Tsushima? I went, no, what's that about? He's like, ah man, it's this, Japanese samurai game. You should play it. And I checked it out, and it was kind of like it was kind of I mean, Assassin's Creed Shadows is out now, but before Shadows was out, it was kind of like Assassin's Creedy, and
Yeah.
you could just run in and just murk everybody, or you could kind of stealth your way through it. And I kind of was like, I can get behind this, so
Okay.
I played that for a while. But another game that I think is going to be super graphically pleasing is going to be Death Stranding 2.
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you seen
So
the clips for that yet?
I've seen bits and pieces. Now, granted, I didn't play Death Stranding 1. I catch glimpses of my father playing it, but
Hmm.
pretty much what I got from it was FedEx Simulator or UPS Simulator, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, there is. You are in fact correct. There is a lot of walking involved.
like I do a lot of walking in a bunch of video games, so I'm no stranger to it. But
Right.
like, if I have the option to fast travel, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that.
Yeah, you're gonna
But
hit confirm on that button for sure.
I'm gonna click go now. But
Yeah.
honestly, like maybe here in the near future, I'll give Death Stranding 1 a try and then see how 2 plays out for me, because Death Stranding, that to me, that's not my style of game.
Sure.
Um, but doesn't mean that, like you, for example, uh, you enjoyed Death Stranding.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. It's probably one of my favorite games. Like at least in the top 10 for sure.
Now, like, is it a good storyline to you? Is it understandable?
Okay, so, right? Because that's a trick question, right? It's a Hideo Kojima game, right? So
Mhm.
if anybody knows anything about Hideo Kojima, the story is wildly all over the place. Wildly, right? So the way that Death Stranding works, and to answer your question first and foremost, is I didn't necessarily much care for the gameplay aspect itself. Like the walking around, I picked them up, I put them down, right? Like that was monotonous for sure.
Yeah.
But in such a way that I could shut my brain off and just start walking towards my destination, and then like music starts playing and it's really pretty and I'm like, ooh, yay,
So
right?
graphically, it's good.
Graphically it's pleasing, but what got me the most was the story. Especially once I finished the game and I understood, because in Death Stranding they feed you bits and pieces of the story, but they feed it to you in different like times. So you
Okay,
might
so it's kind of like a puzzle.
right, so you might get a piece that is happening now, right? And oh, we have to go
Mm.
do this and this is the reason behind it, right? And then you'll progress in the story and they'll give you another piece of the story, but this happened 2 years ago or a year ago,
Oh,
or and then you progress in the story and then this is happening at this part in the timeline, and it's up to you as the player to mash the story together to be able to form like the greater picture, which is a lot of times what Hideo Kojima is known for.
yeah.
So but yes, I love Death Stranding. I try to get people to play Amazon Delivery Driver Simulator any chance I get. Anytime they're like, I don't know, man, it's a bunch of walking. I'm like, I'm telling you, man, it's a pretty game. You should play it. The worst part about Death Stranding is just getting to like the middle region. The worst part about
Mm.
the game is the beginning like 2 hours of the game. I promise you. After that, it's straight money. I promise. Please, please give my boy a chance. But
Please.
yeah, I'm super stoked for Death Stranding too. And maybe I'm just like on the bandwagon. You know, maybe I'm
Mm.
just kind of riding along, like hoping that it's going to be good. I mean, it looks good. They're focusing more on combat. They're focusing more on traversal as far as vehicles go.
Hmm.
Because in the first game, it takes you a little bit to unlock vehicles. From what I've heard and what I've seen in videos, they're going like straight out the gate. You have access to vehicles like within the first 30 minutes. From what I've heard, obviously, I don't have really access to the game. I'm not a super big content creator, so I don't, But
Yeah, I feel that.
from what I've seen, that's what it looks like, and it looks graphically amazing. It looks just like Ghost of Yotai, just in a different sense as far as graphics go.
Mm.
So, what you thinking?
Well,
You got that look about you?
yeah, you got my brain rolling now. I
Yeah.
know as of right now, and you had brought up Assassin's Creed Shadows, right?
Hmm.
How that's already out. That's another company that I kind of have an issue with.
Yeah, good old Ubisoft. How you can literally not never get a hold of them for anything ever.
Yep.
Yeah,
But it's just
yeah,
one of those where like I loved Assassin's Creed 1, I loved Assassin's Creed 2 and 3 and maybe Unity. I don't I'm trying to remember if
Did you play
Unity was the
Brotherhood
one.
and Revelations?
I didn't play Brotherhood. I also didn't play Black Flag, but I know my
Black Flag
brother
was
did.
pretty good.
Yeah. But it just seems as of late, Ubisoft has just been like, hey, another Assassin's Creed game. Like, didn't they just come out with one like months ago?
No, what you're thinking of, dude. Oh man, I'm so glad that you brought this up. What you're thinking of is Star Wars Outlaws, the biggest, hottest piece of dog shit that they've released in the fattest minute. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. If any of you guys out there are watching this, right? Let me look at you. Let me talk to you. If any of you guys are out there watching this, right? And I can't see shit, but if any of you guys are out there watching this, go look at early footage of Star Wars Outlaws. I promise you're gonna see what I'm talking about. It's crazy the amount of bugs that they had in that game. And then they were like, "Oh, well, we'll fix it." They didn't for the longest time. So like it was just a big old steaming piece of dog shit. Oh, and by the way, $70, please. Thank you.
Yep.
No, yeah, yeah. It was Star Wars Outlaws. I'm glad you brought that out. I got some beef with Star Wars Outlaws
Oh
because I'm a Star Wars
goodness.
fan.
Yeah, trust me, I feel it, Chief. But honestly, like if the Star Wars industry for video games, EA, mind you, all right. Yes, I'm talking to you, EA. What I really miss was the old Battlefront. Okay, Battlefront 2, mind you. Like where you had the Jedi battles where like
Oh
you
yeah.
and whoever was sitting right next to you on the couch could just split screen and just go ham as whoever you wanted, wherever you wanted, whenever you wanted.
Just duke it out in the middle of a desert. Yeah.
Yeah, like not to mention the space battles in it,
Yeah, those were pretty
right?
wild.
They really were. Like you would play as, I don't know, it's just some stormtrooper or some rebel, and you'd be in this big ass carrier, and you'd actually have to hop into the ship, go out, and you can land in the enemy carrier. That was super cool.
Yeah, that was
Like
hot.
why don't we have that now in these like Star Wars Battlefronts? Now, granted, I haven't played the newest Battlefront 2 actually in a hot second. It was PlayStation 4 that I last played it.
Oh, so it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, but I know I'm kind of getting off track because we
Oh,
started
you're
talking
good.
about Star Wars,
No, you're
but
good.
kind of going back with the Assassin's Creed. I, I I swear it was like Origins or something. It was Assassin's Creed Origins. I don't know. I'm probably gonna end up looking it up later.
Oh, you're talking about Assassin's Creed Mirage,
Oh yeah,
where you play as Basim.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
wasn't it like Origins, then Mirage, then
So
Shadows?
it went. I'm trying to think. I don't remember if Odyssey was before Origins, but if it was, it went Odyssey, Origins, Valhalla, Mirage, and then Shadows, I believe.
I'm so I'm actually looking it up.
Yeah,
But
go for it. I'm probably totally wrong.
oh okay. So no, it's been a hot second, but it was oh okay. I don't know what happened there,
Yeah,
but
I was just gonna say, did we lose you?
it was luckily you didn't. So Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, Mirage. And I took a look at the dates, and they're actually a couple of years apart. But
Oh, okay.
it was just, it was, I don't know. It just seems like Ubisoft is putting out Assassin's Creed after Assassin's Creed. It almost feels like Call of Duty all over again.
Right.
And to be honest, being in this podcast, I actually had a conversation with my dad about video games and how it just seems like they're kind of losing their knack nowadays,
Yeah.
where the replayability isn't there, and it's with these big major companies, and the indie developers are starting to get that, where their replayability is up, whereas the big companies' replayability is down. I mean, think of Schedule One,
Yeah.
right? Pretty much just drug dealing simulator,
Pretty much. Yeah.
and it was just made by one person. Low poly game, super fun. He was getting sued by the company who actually made drug dealer simulator because he stole it. But there's so much more that you can do in Schedule One than drug dealer, and it's crazy because how many times have like we been in Discord and been like, "Hey, you want to play Schedule One?"
Yeah. Countless
Many
times.
times, many times, you know, and that kind of like brings me to another topic of like killer games. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean by that?
Like break it down a little bit.
So, for example, Prop Night. Did you
Hmm.
ever play Prop Night, or have you ever seen like gameplay of it?
I've seen gameplay of it. You mean games
Okay.
kind of like Dead by Daylight or
Yeah. So, Dead by Daylight was essentially the original, right?
right,
Where you had one killer, four survivors. The four survivors had to, get out before the killer got them all.
right.
Same thing in Prop Night, but it was more cartoon. And on top of it, you can turn into props and hide from the killer.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was supposed to be the DBD killer, because I know that for a hot second it was, hey, no one's really playing DBD, Probably because, the game was just losing its value. Now, granted, they have an update like every week now,
Yeah.
but think of Lethal Company. Lethal Company, you just like run into these buildings, take stuff, bring it back to the ship, and then sell it. If you don't meet quota, well, you lose the game.
Right.
Repo. I can't tell you how many hours I already have in that game, and that game came out. When did it come out? Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to find out here in 2.5 seconds because I love the game. I hate to see it.
No, you're fine. Hey guys, just always remember, man, if you guys have a topic request that you want to send in or you want to come on the show and be a guest, you can always email us at the Tills with Thrills podcast at gmail.com while we're waiting on this information. You can go ahead and follow us on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, X. Just want to reiterate again, you know, unfortunately, Julian, aka Tills, wasn't able to make it. He's in the process of doing his move. So the next couple of videos that you guys might see might just be me and a guest or just me alone. Throw down in the comments below what you guys want to see. Obviously we'll try and see if we can make that happen and meet the quota per se. Did you find that info?
I did.
All right, go ahead and share it up.
Repo came out February 26th. That is the Lethal Company killer. And I already have like 200 hours in this game, dog.
Yeah, and it's only been out for like a couple months.
Yeah. Now, granted, I had seen videos of it on TikTok before it even came out. And I was like, oh, that game looks really fun. And then once it finally came out, I was like, all right, let me check the bank account. Got it.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's kind of what I'm hoping for with these new releases, is that it's going to be that same feeling of like, well, I've seen a little bit of gameplay. I'm really anticipating it. Let me check the bank account.
Right. No, I mean, I kind of share the same sentiment, man. Like, I just really hope that it, because at least for me personally, I don't know if you share the same sentiment, but gaming has felt really stale, at least for the last
Yeah.
couple of years for me. So I'm really, really hoping that with these titles that are coming out, I really hope that they're going to kind of breathe life back into gaming, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And especially too, like there seem to be a lot of games that are coming out that are for like the average person. For example, Death Stranding 2, it's a story game. Ghost of Yotai, it's a story game. Doom the Dark Ages, another story
Story
game.
game.
Subnautica 2, Subnautica 2 is coming out and they're putting multiplayer in the game. Whoop whoop. Before you used to have to put Subnautica into legacy mode and mod the piss out of it, just
Yeah.
to play multiplayer, and it's super buggy.
Mm.
Another game that's coming out that I'm looking forward to is Dying Light: The Beast.
Ooh,
Yeah. Have you heard anything about that?
I actually have not.
Yeah, so it's still, let me look at my notes here. It's still to be announced when it's dropping. Womp womp.
Wow,
But
wow.
uh I'm super stoked for it. You're playing as Kyle Crane again.
Ooh,
So my boy,
my boy.
need to get him back. Ghost of Yotai comes out October 2nd, and Borderlands 4 comes out September 12th.
Ooh.
Subnautica, the early access is still to be determined. But yeah, I really, really hope that it breathes life back into the gaming scene and the gaming culture. Long gone are the days of Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer,
Oh,
where you would crack open a Mountain Dew and eat some Doritos and get on Xbox Live and hit
man.
360 YY fakies off of the plane on the Afghan map.
Yup.
Like unfortunately, like, and I dare to say it that, I mean, there's a lot of good games, but I dare to say that those days are dead and gone. Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
don't know what you have to say about it, but
Well, I definitely feel you on there because I remember midnight releases of
oh
video
yeah,
games.
dude, yeah,
Going to GameStop, sitting in a line for hours hours, dude. Like there'd be
Yeah.
people that
People
would
with
have
chairs and
tents.
yeah.
Yeah. Be like, yeah, no, I'm parked right here for midnight release. I've been here since like 2 a.m. this morning.
Right.
Dog.
It's
Like
like,
you're
yo, what?
dedicated. But I feel you on the fact that it's not how it used to be anymore.
No,
Now
definitely not.
it could just be us getting older.
Yeah,
Um
we ain't got it in us no more.
yeah, it's like, bedtimes at midnight. Now, I say that and maybe one of my viewers is going to watch this and be like, "Why you lying to me?"
Yeah, stop the cap.
Yeah, stop the cat. But I just remember the days where like my friends would bring over their console and we'd like do a LAN
Yeah,
party
dude.
like Halo and obviously Modern Warfare 2. And I just remember sitting in my parents' basement with Modern Warfare 2 just talking shit to online players. And it was always like your mom. It was like, F you, I'm gonna leak your IP address, or you'd get a Xbox
Yeah.
message where it's just like, why are you cheating? It's just like, man, I'm just that good.
Yeah. Yo, Xbox Live Chat back in MW2 had
Oh,
people talking crazy. People
mm-hmm.
were talking crazy on Modern Warfare 2. I don't know if y'all remember that. If y'all have ever played I say the old Modern Warfare 2, good God. But if y'all played, what was it, 2009 Modern Warfare
Yep.
2, the original Modern Warfare 2, yo, do you remember the favela map
Oh
for
my
multiplayer?
goodness.
Yo. And just sitting in the corner by the soccer field with that long alley, like down the road with an intervention,
Yep.
used to have people talking crazy, crazy shit on that map, dude.
Yep.
But I really wish that, you know, it's hard too because like I don't even know if we ever could get back to a point, not necessarily where people are talking crazy because people still do that regardless, but I wish
Obviously.
we could get back to a point where, we could have that same feeling again, you know. I
Mm.
don't know if we even can. I really don't. I don't know if it's even possible anymore, you know. What do you
It,
think?
it's it's one of those where I feel like partially it's mentality,
Sure.
right? Like as you were younger, you were like really anticipating this game, and the moment mom and dad got it for you, or if you were working, you got it for yourself. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm just gonna go home and play this, right?
What about all the people that got it for Christmas and like their birthday? You remember
Oh
that?
yeah,
Like there'd be a massive influx of people getting on for Christmas.
yep. It's like, hey yo, Merry Christmas, mother truckers, and next, shit talking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I do feel like it's a little bit on the mental side because as an adult, it's like, well, if I just want the game, I'm gonna get it, or if I just want this console, I'm gonna get it.
Sure.
Um, I don't have to wait for Christmas or my birthday anymore. And I feel like that if it was Christmas or your birthday, it had more sentimental value to you
Sure.
because I remember one Christmas. Now, my parents weren't rich or anything, but they made odds meet and they got us an Xbox. Dog. I remember popping in Halo ODST
Oh man.
and my brother and we just railed on it for hours, and then there'd be days where it's just like we have to go to school and either my brother and we'd like rock paper scissors for who was going to stay home or who was going to play sick and
Right. Yeah.
just play on the game for hours.
Just beating the brakes off of that disc in that disc tray.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude. And it's just one of those where like maybe we could get it back. I highly doubt it though. But you know, for example, Death Stranding 2 for you. You're super excited about it, right?
Oh yeah, I'm stoked. If I could pay, let me tell you something. If I could pay an extra $100 to play it right now, I would. I'm not even. I have no shame. I have no shame. If they were like, hey man, you can play it now for a little bit of extra money. I'm a greedy, greedy, greedy little boy. I need that. I need that game right
Yup.
now. Like that's I ain't got no shame. I ain't afraid
Trust
to
me, I
say it.
feel that way. because
You know?
that's how I am with Metal Gear Solid right now, because that was my childhood game. I'm like, dude, you're bringing this to PC, and on top of it, it's remastered.
Yeah, earlier you saw it, you were like, "Hey, yo, what?"
Yeah, yeah, man. And it's just like that spark, just that little spark of, hey, this game that you used to play is coming, to your adult life. And then on top of it, we could talk hours and hours of games that could be remastered or games that should come out today,
Yeah.
right? But as of right now, with like what we got, you know, I think 2025 is, I'd say, a pretty good year for games coming out.
Yeah. It's definitely pretty solid for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, because looking at the list of the months and like what is coming out to what has already come out, I feel like there's going to be more options, especially for cross-platform games,
Yeah.
because trying to find games where like you got a buddy on PlayStation or a buddy on Xbox or someone that's on PC, trying to find games where it's cross compatible. It's like, man, you know, hate to see it, Chief, but we ain't got the same game. Or, hey, it's not cross compatible, so we're just gonna sit in Discord and chill.
Right. Or it's crossplay like for console to console, but not console to PC.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
hate that.
Yeah.
Hate to see it, Chief.
Like one of the things that like kind of irked me too about Subnautica 2, um, was that if you've taken a peek at the trailers for Subnautica 2, at the end of the trailer it says that it'll go into early access in 2025, but then it lists the systems that it's going into early access for, and you see Steam, you see Xbox, but you don't see PS5, and I'm like,
Hmm.
you dirty, dirty little boys, you dirty little rat boys. Like now, me, I have an Xbox, so like doesn't really
Yeah.
matter, and a PC, so like
So
whatever.
it doesn't
But
really matter, but
for the people that don't and they only have a PS5 and they're really really pumped for Subnautica 2 because it's multiplayer, ding ding ding, right?
yep.
I feel like I don't necessarily think it defeats the purpose of it being multiplayer, like it not being able to be shared on PlayStation for early access, but it just sucks. You know what I mean? Why exclude PlayStation? I mean, maybe they couldn't get Sony to make a deal or something. I don't know, the logistics behind that, but it just kind of sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's usually because they couldn't get a company to make a deal with them. So they're like, okay, well, we're just going to put it on these platforms instead of this one
Right. We
because,
just won't release it for your
yeah,
system.
yeah. And then later on down the road, they'll see how well it's doing. And maybe Sony will be like, oh, okay, hey, you wanna bring that over here? You want to
Right.
share a little bit of the wealth with us?
Yeah, that's one thing too that kind of gets me. Like, don't get me wrong, I have a PS5, I have a PS5 sitting right here. But one thing that really gets me is how greedy these companies have become. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like just over the years, how money hungry they've become, especially, like like Ubisoft especially. How they're like, oh man, well the DLC for this is, oh man, it's a $60 game, and if you want the DLC, it'll be 19.99. You know what I mean? Like it'll be 19.99. And you're like, yo, like before you know it, dude, you've just spent $120 on a game that realistically was only worth $40
Oh
because they
yeah.
haven't fixed the bugs. It was a shitty launch. You can't get a hold of them to save your life. You know, like if you were
Yep.
on fire and you had to call Ubisoft and get to talk to somebody on the phone, you die before you'd be able to get to talk to somebody on the
Oh,
phone.
guaranteed.
You know what I mean? Like it just sucks.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Because it's like, hey, we have a customer service here, but what are we really going to do for you? Hey, I have my game crashing on me every 5 seconds. Send an email. You wait 2 to 3 business days for a reply.
Right. And you send it on Monday.
Yep, and it's like, dog, it's the weekend. I've been playing a new game. I don't need your help anymore.
Yeah, like I've already deleted it, bro.
Right. It's like I've deleted it, uninstalled it, refunded it. Why would I want to play your game?
Yeah.
And
Well, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, you're good. I was about to say, and that's another thing. Games just coming out all buggy. Like,
Yeah,
for
they're just throwing
example,
out games all willy nilly.
oh yeah, for example, Cyberpunk 2077, right?
Oh yeah, that's a
That game
big
was
example.
oh well, it didn't help that the Cyberpunk 2077 community was like, well, we want it now. Like you've been saying
Yeah,
this since like 2015. We want it now, right? Now, granted, I could just be over exaggerating, but it got to the point where the community bullied the developers to put it out. And then once it was out, everyone was like, oh, well, this game's shit. Well, you guys wanted it.
yeah. This is what you asked for,
Yeah. And I feel like these bigger companies decide to put out games that are kind of half-assed
for sure.
and all buggy, all glitchy.
But they want you to
And
pay full
then
price for them too.
yeah, and that's the mind-blowing thing is like you want me to pay 60, $70 for a video game that's pretty much half-assed when I could go on itchy.io and find an indie game free that's not buggy.
Yeah, super polished too.
Yeah. And it's just an indie developer though. You know? That's it that's kind of embarrassing to the bigger companies when an indie game is doing so much better than a full-blown dev team, especially if it's made by one person. Phasmophobia was made by one person.
Was it?
And look how yeah, it originally was made by
Dang.
one person.
Yeah, I never knew that.
And now granted, nowadays they've got like a little bit of a dev team from my
Sure.
understanding, but that was made by one person and that did super well. That is known nationwide. That is known worldwide of Phasmophobia.
Right.
But I'm trying to think because why am I going to continue to pay 60 $70 for these games that I know are going to be glitchy? I'd rather wait like an entire year until I know it's like polished.
Yeah. And on sale.
Yeah.
You know.
Why why pay the $60 when I could pay 30 when it's been out a year, everyone's played it, and hey, I could finally play through a level that 60,000 other people couldn't play through because it was so buggy.
Yeah. Well, and like another game too that came out that was, I don't want to say it was super buggy because it wasn't necessarily super buggy, but it had its bugs, which was Stalker 2.
Oh.
Stalker 2, I never played any of the other Stalkers like Shadow of Chernobyl or Heart of Pripyat
Mhm.
or the other titles. And I'm
Yeah.
not sure that those are even the actual correct names of the titles. So if I butchered them, I'm sorry for everybody watching. Um, but I was super excited for Stalker 2, like to the point where I had downloaded the game early, and the moment that it dropped, I was booting that bad boy up. But they had a bug in the game where you would be walking throughout the wilderness, throughout the zone, and randomly a different weapon would just show up in your inventory. Well, it was a problem because, you would get late game weapons as a early game, like you're in the early game, like parts of the story, and you'd get
Mhm.
end game weapons. No, I didn't have a problem with that. I definitely didn't have a problem with that. But they went and fixed it. So I
Oh.
experienced that bug multiple times. Like to the point where I'm walking around and I'm just running around with an MP5 that is like dirt nasty and it jams every 5 rounds and it's just a shitter, you know. And then
Yeah.
here's this massive M14, here's this massive 701 Super that shoots these massive rounds and one shots mutants, and I'm like, oh no, don't put it in my backpack. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no, a bug. but it's like the best bug I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like, fuck yeah, But
Oh
no,
yeah.
it goes back into what you were saying about developers releasing games that are like half-assed or unpolished, And I feel like that is what is kind of aiding into the slow downfall and death of gaming, honestly. You
Yeah.
know. I don't know what you think about it. I mean, do you think that gaming is going to die anytime soon, or do you think that it's gonna come back out like swinging?
Well, personally, I feel like it's going to die for a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, we're going to have this downfall of games because of what we're explaining, the bugs, the glitches, the half-assed polished turd, right? That they're just throwing out, expecting people to buy. Like, I'm sorry, it's going to die just for a small amount, and then you're going to find these gems to where it's like, wow, this is really good. Who's the developer of this
Yeah.
game?
Yeah. Who made you?
Right? Who made you? But it's going to die just for a small period of time, and then the big developers are going to finally pull their head out of their ass and be like, look, we need something that's going to bring people back. What is going to be that thing that brings people back? Oh, a polished game, something that doesn't have any bugs, that doesn't have any glitches, that we're not, just dragging our feet on. We just need a game to where it's beautifully done, graphics, dialogue, audio, gameplay. It's all super smooth.
Right.
And the storyline you can follow, like even my 3-month-old son could follow.
Right.
Now, granted, he doesn't even understand English yet, but he'd be able to follow it. We just we just need to get that spark back where it's like, oh, I know this is going to be a great game. A, because the developers always make a great game. Again, Doom
Right.
has always done a phenomenal job. You know the developer, you know essentially what it's going to look like. You have trailers of the gameplay, and that'll bring back the spark. Like, I get it, you can bring out all these nostalgic games like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 just for that nostalgia view, but you can't rely on nostalgia.
Yeah. It definitely runs out after a certain point, for sure.
Yep.
Another game that I'm super interested to see if they shit the bed or not is the new Battlefield that's coming out. I know that like they're doing the
Oh.
Battlefield Labs thing and they're doing play testing and stuff, but if it
Mm-hmm.
if it launches like 2042 did, I'm sorry. It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's
I
gonna
hate to
be
see it.
yeah, hate to see it. Like, cause I love Battlefield. Like I started playing Battlefield during the Bad Company 2 days.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, so for like Battlefield 3 and 4, man, I was a monster. I was a demon
Yep.
on Battlefield 3, you know. So I really enjoy Battlefield, to the point where I'd argue that I enjoy Battlefield more than I enjoy Call of Duty, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
for sure. But with the release of 2042 and how that went,
Oh my
am
goodness.
I am I hopeful for I think they're calling it Battlefield 6. Am I hopeful for Battlefield 6? I'm not going to hold my breath, you know.
Yeah.
I really really won't. Um
Yeah. I feel it, man, because in all honesty, I remember the days of Battlefield 3. Just pop it in the PlayStation. Shoot, I would bring my TV from the basement up into the living room and
damn.
just set it on the dining room table. And my dad and I, for hours, like, we'd start at maybe 8, 9 o'clock at night, and then wouldn't be done until like 5, 6 in the morning.
That's wild.
And
Just getting down on some Battlefield.
oh, yeah, dude. Because Battlefield, I'd say Bad Company 2, and then Battlefield 3. I can't really say too much about 4 because I've only played like a smidge of 4,
Yeah.
but I know those two super well done.
Yeah,
And
I played way
honestly,
more 3 than I did 4.
yeah. And honestly, if we could get another Battlefield 3, like you could name it Battlefield Cock and Ball Simulator,
Sure.
right? As long as it played like 3, I would dump hours into it.
Yes. No, same. I hear you.
But who knows? Like I said, it's that spark that everyone's trying to get back that you had when you were younger. It's like Halo release. It's like Black Ops release, you know?
Yeah.
Because last Black Ops that, no, you're good. But last Black Ops that personally I think was one of the better ones was Black Ops 1.
Yeah, I liked 2 for the
Zombies.
zombies. Yeah. Like they had Die Rise and Buried and,
Oh,
and
yeah, they had
Kino
some
and
cool ones.
well, Kino came out with Black Ops 1, but
Mhm.
still they had Kino on there as again. Um, so I was in it more so kind of for the zombies.
Yeah. See, I feel like that's what Black Ops 2 was mainly for was the zombies because like not too long ago I actually rebought Black Ops 2 for my PC and just played zombies on it. And Black Ops 1 personally story was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
I loved it. But
Yeah.
I'm just hoping, maybe with these upcoming releases that they're not going to shit the bed as we're all expecting and maybe put some joy back in our hearts with it. Put some spark back in our lives
Right.
where hey, I don't have anything going on at home. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna jump on Borderlands 4. I'm gonna jump on Ghost of Yotai. I'm gonna jump on Metal Gear Solid. We just need that little spark.
Yeah, it's almost like that developers just kind of need to listen to the player base more, really. You know, if they can get that little push in the right direction to kind of listen to their player base, I think that these games that are coming out could really do great things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of really what it boils down to with this entire episode is that, is it going to be a good year for gaming? I mean, we're hopeful. We'd love to see it, but we'll see. I think that pretty much wraps up um, the episode for today. Hustle, do you have anything that you want to say before we do our outro and get on out of here?
Sure. If you guys want to see what I'm doing, I know if it's all right with Thrills over here. Is it
Yeah,
all
go for
good?
it. Yeah, go for it.
If you guys want to see what I'm doing outside of the podcast, I'm on Twitch at HostileBond. I'm on YouTube. There's all that. And that's pretty much well, I mean, if you guys haven't checked out any of the games, feel free to check them out. And if you guys aren't following, follow the podcast. Give it a shot. You never know what episode might come up that you'll enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, guys. We're trying to kind of, diversify our content a little bit. So, just like we've said before, if you guys enjoy this content and you guys want to see more of this content, you can always follow our social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, X. We're on YouTube. We post once a week, so weekly for bigger episodes on YouTube. We also post. Excuse me, sorry, I'm doing crazy shit right now. We post clips. Excuse me, to our social medias. We try to do that daily. But we also post to our Patreon. You guys have access to become a free member on Patreon. If you want to, you'll get access to our Discord. There's also access to become a higher tier supporter on there as well, which further supports the channel. You guys are more than welcome to do that. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, and you want to be a guest, you want to submit a topic request about something that you'd like to see us do an episode on, you can always email us at the Tills for Thrills podcast. If you guys are a veteran in need, you need to talk to somebody, dial the Veterans Crisis Line, man. Just call them. Dial 988 and press 1. Ain't no shame in that game. If you need to talk to somebody and you don't have anybody to talk to, go ahead and give them a call, man. I'd much rather you give them a call than everybody else that loves and cares about you have to get a call that something bad happened to you. On a little bit of a lighter note, if you guys are tired of feeling like dirty dog dick that got pulled out of the microwave in a minute 45, you should get Dubby. Check me out, right? Use promo code TILLS for thrills at checkout for 10% off eligible products. That's dubby.gg. And if you go ahead and throw that code in there, you'll be able to get that 10% on eligible products, of course. Again, Tills is very, very sorry that he can't be here. So for the next little bit, it's just going to be your boy Thrills here. Yeah, I really hope that you guys like this content. If you guys want to see more of this content, excuse me, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and share this to everybody that you know. That way we can, kind of gauge whether or not you guys give a shit. That'd be tight. Hostile, do you have anything?
Yeah, I do have a question for the viewers out there. What is a game that you're anticipating that is going to be good this year? Write it down in the comments.
That's actually really good. You actually beat me to that. I was about to throw that up there too. So yeah. If you guys are super, like really anticipating a game that's coming out, drop it down in the comments, just like you said. I mean, for me, I'm a little bit of a freak. I want to play, Amazon Delivery Driver Simulator 2, aka Death Stranding 2. I'm really pumped. If they asked me to give them $100 and I could get it tonight, I would. I'm a dirty, dirty little boy. I admit it. Ain't no shame in my game. Anyways, other than that, guys, I think that we'll go on and see you in the next episode.